If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can't I paint you? The words will never show the you I've come to know. If a face could launch 1,000 ships, then where am I to go? There's no one home but you. You're all that's left me to. And when my love for life is running dry, you come and pour yourself on me. If a man could be two places at one time, I'd be with you tomorrow and today, beside you all the way. If the world should stop with all things spinning slowly down to die, I'd spend the end with you. And when the world was through, then one by one the stars would all go out. Then you and I would simply fly away.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart.
you're down and troubled, and you need a helping hand, and nothing's going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call up my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Oh yeah, babe, to see you again. Winter, spring, summer or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. You've got a friend. If the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud now. Soon I'll be knocking upon your door. You just call up my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Oh yes, I will see you again. Winter, spring, summer or fall, yeah. All you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? When people can be so cold, they'll hurt you and desert you. Well, they'll take your soul if you let them. Oh yeah, but don't you let them.
For all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought to my life, for all the wrong that you made right, for every dream you made come true, for all the love I found in you, I'll be forever thankful, baby. You're the one who held me up, never let me fall. You're the one who saw me through it all. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me, lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe I'm everything I am because you love me. Ooh, yeah. because you loved me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin the services. Just want to remind people that anyone that might have a mobile phone to put it on vibrate, off, or silent, please. We will begin in just a couple of minutes, and the services are being live streamed, and the live streaming is up and running live now. You just take your time. Whenever you're ready.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming today on what would have been David's 63rd birthday. I can't tell you how much it means to me to see so many people here to celebrate David's life, and I know there's a lot of people watching all over the world, literally, right now. I'm pretty sure that David's also watching us right now, and he's very happy to see so many friends and the faces of loved ones. I don't want this day to be all about sadness. Today, I want us to share our memories and our stories. We all have stories about David. In a life well lived, there are always so many stories. Most of you have heard some of the funniest ones, the ones about David swimming or vacuuming without clothes. We used to laugh until our cheeks hurt when he told them. Or the story about him hitchhiking across America at the tender age of 18 and agreeing with somebody who picked him up that he would drive the first 100 miles, even though he had never been behind the wheel of a car. Yes, there are so many funny, crazy David stories. But out of all the stories to tell, the one that I want to start off with is the story of us. The abbreviated version. It's my once upon a time story, the beginning of my fairy tale and his, and it's the story of how we started. As many of you know, I met David when I was 14. It was June 1981, 44 years ago. David had come to Lawrence Park Collegiate to enroll for the next school year. I had seen David around. He was there often. He had lots of friends. He was the guy who knew all of the good parties on the weekends. And for an insecure 14-year-old girl, he was a bit of a superstar. David was just 19 years old, and he didn't live at home with his parents. He was a rebel, and he had a bad boy reputation. When he came to school that day, he was wearing an old leather cowboy hat, a fringed suede jacket, jeans, fry boots, and a feather earring. He had long sideburns, and he was the image of cool. But what really set him apart that day was the 8-foot boa constrictor that he was wearing around his neck. And yes, I have always liked snakes, and perhaps I knew right then and there that he was the man for me. We met that day, and I ran into him once during the summer of 1981, but it wasn't until school started again in September that we really began to talk. He didn't know how old I was then. I was in grade 11, but I was only 14. He thought I was much older. As I got to know him better, I discovered that under the cool guy persona, David was kind, caring, and sweet, and that he didn't really like snakes that much. In late October, we officially started going out. I would go to his place after school. He was living back home by then, and we would watch TV. He would like to watch The Rockford Files and Walk with Yan, and because he liked them, I liked them too. Our first kiss was just around the corner from here, across the street from his house at the bus stop for the 88 bus. It was October 27th, it was raining, and it was perfect. I don't think either of us thought that first kiss would lead to almost 44 years of love, but it did. And from that moment on, we were an item. We were David and Leanne, the couple. I grew up loving David. Our relationship shaped me into who I am today. Fast forward 9 years to May 1990, we were married, and what a wonderful adventure our marriage was. We created a beautiful life together, so many amazing memories, so many stories. Fast forward another 34 years to May 2024, and we renewed our vows. It was just the two of us in Scotland. We each wrote our vows for each other that day. They were beautiful. We were in a place of complete joy. And we were excited about starting the next chapter of our life together and the wonderful adventures that were waiting for us. The dress I'm wearing today is the dress I wore on that day in Scotland, and it means so much to me. A year later, our fairy tale ended. Earlier I said I didn't want this afternoon to be all about sadness, but I want to tell the end of our story. David began suffering from generalized anxiety disorder and depression earlier this year. It is likely that it had been coming on for a while, but we didn't know what it was. Neither of us knew anything about mental health issues, and we ended up on a crash course. David was the most positive person I ever met. He was full of life. He lived to inspire and mentor others. He was tenacious, hardworking, self-motivated, competitive, and strong. He was also kind, compassionate, empathetic, generous, and a true friend to all who knew him. He was my rock. He was my best friend. He was my hero, my inspiration, and he was my soulmate. He had a full and wonderful life, and yet this disease was too much for him to bear. I want everyone to know that David was a fighter. He fought as hard as he could, and I had never been as proud of him as I was each day when he tried so hard just to be. David didn't win his fight against his illness, and too many people don't. Mental health cut short our fairy tale. My story continues with David, in spirit and forever in my heart. His courageous fight inspires me to carry on his legacy and try to help others every single day. If this could happen to David, it could happen to anybody. You may have seen the turquoise and purple ribbons when you came in today. They are suicide awareness ribbons. And I ask you each to take one. Please wear it to honor David. And afterwards, perhaps put it in a safe place, your wallet, a trinket dish. And when you see it, please think about David. Remember his voice. Remember his laugh. Remember his smile. Because as long as we keep remembering David, he lives in our hearts. So happy birthday, baby. I love you. And I miss you so much. I love you yesterday, today, tomorrow, and always. The song we're about to play was one that became meaningful to David and I over the past few months during his illness. It was one of the newest additions to David's playlist. And so I want to play it for you now. Robbie Williams, Angels. I can keep going. You really don't want me to sing it. It's all supposed to just happen when I ask for it. So
we go when we're gray and old. 'Cause I have been told that salvation lets their wings unfold. So when I'm lying in my bed, thoughts running through my head, and I feel the love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it, oh, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. When I'm feeling weak and my brain walks down a one-way street, I look around and I know I'll always be blessed with love. And as the feeling grows, she breathes fresh to my bones. When love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it, oh, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. She offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, I know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alan Grinberg, and first, before we even get started, let's just look at this lovely lady who spoke so eloquently and on such a difficult day. We're here to celebrate our friend David Fullerton. We are not here to have a woe is me day, not a somber day. This is a day to celebrate it. As they say, it's a story of life well lived. When I myself sat down to write this, a whole bunch of memories of David flashed up because I first met him at a broker's reception in the 90s when real estate was done the old way. You know, with a fat steak, a couple of martinis, a great bottle of red wine, heading back to the office for some semi-drunk cold calls. Good times. A time when pagers were the best form of communication, a time when the Spice Girls were ruling the charts. Good times. Now, David was always already a few years ahead of me in the business. He'd already created success in the industry. I remember that when I met him, he was still at Devoncore. He was partnered with that silver-tongued South African Stan Kravitz, who I'll never forget. Pointing at him right here. Love that guy. David liked me because he laughed at my accents and my imitations. He'd say, "Alan, do the Sean Connery." And I'd say, "Yes, that's right. I'm here for you, David." And then he'd say, "Yeah, do something else." I'd say, "Okay, here's Sean Connery having a threesome." "Yes, that's right, Moneypenny. Yes, get in there, Moneypenny. Okay, Pussy Galore, you're next. Octopussy, come on in. Oh, that's a tensome now. Yes." Anyways, I digress. One of the reasons I loved David was because he was able to focus on you, make you feel like you were the most important person in the room when he spoke to you. And that's an important quality. We'd get together as friends. We used to do an annual thing, a long weekend in the Muskokas with Chris, Clayton, Stan, Paul. It was always filled with food, good jokes, relaxing, appreciation of life, and just enjoying the moment. David was a good friend, and he will be dearly missed. I want to point out something to you all here today. We don't want this to be something that becomes a byline for something sad that shouldn't have happened. We want his passing to be a call out for the future so that we can educate ourselves on identifying friends and loved ones that are struggling with mental health and how to get help quickly and avoid feeling helpless. More importantly, we came here together to celebrate our friend and truly enjoy the things that we had with him when he was here. So let's celebrate that together. Our first speaker that I'm going to have to call up with pleasure is a friend of David's and Leanne's that he knew from the early days, I guess when it was still called Coldwell Banker, and that's Mr. Jeff Friedman. Is he here? Yes, he is. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Good afternoon, everyone. Leanne, I want to thank you for asking me to honor Dave's life and his memory. My wife Sonia and I are deeply saddened by Dave's passing, and I'm privileged to have had Dave in my life as a friend. Sonia sent me a clip recently about friendship. It said, "Friends are like trees. There are 3 types of friends: leaves, branches, and roots. The leaves are seasonal friends that come and go. The branches are stronger, but you can't lean on them too much or the branches will break. The roots are your friends that are grounded, deep, are there for you for all 4 seasons. They are there for you when you have nothing to give in return." It all started when we met at CBRE, now called CBRE, formerly Coldwell Banker, in 1991. Dave had already been there for a few years. Even though I technically did not work for Dave, he took an interest in me and provided to me some great advice. We had similar interests, including sports. If you're a sports fan that lived in Toronto and experienced your favorite team winning a championship, sorry Leaf fans, it's an experience you'll never forget. If you recall, the Blue Jays won their first Major League World Series championship in October of 1992. I remember that day like it was yesterday, not only for the euphoria of the win, but also because it was the day that I remember that Dave became my root friend. We'd made plans to go out and watch the game that night at Devil's Martini, and in making those plans, I mentioned that I was hoping to travel to Kingston before the Jays game to see my brother Ken play football. He played for McGill, and they played a playoff game at Queens. And while Dave didn't know Ken, had no reason, really, to spend the day traveling to and fro Kingston, without hesitation said, "Let's go." That time together, just the 2 of us in the car, watching football and then baseball, reinforced our friendship, and I feel it was the day our friendship took root. You may know that it's Dave's birthday today. And just 3 years ago on this weekend, Leanne arranged a 60th birthday party for Dave at their cottage. I had just returned from a trip from Boston and was about to go on another trip to Barbados in a few days. and I thought I'd crave a relaxing weekend at home. I know that in the same situation, Dave would make the time and effort to be there for me, so I made the long distance drive to celebrate Dave's birthday with him, and it was terrific. Dave and Leanne were always great hosts, and I know that Dave loved everything about that day. Sports has always been an important part of our friendship. We shared Toronto Raptors season tickets for a number of years, and for 32 years, we watched the NCAA basketball finals together. Dave, as we all know, was very competitive. He did not like when his team lost, and he sure didn't like it when I won most our bets with him over the basketball games. He hated to lose. In the years we worked together and apart, Dave was a winner. The degree of respect from his colleagues and peers was earned and widely known, and he was well regarded in the industry. While success may be measured by some monetarily, Dave's great success was in his desire to help others in this business. Dave was a great example for others and achieved great joy and satisfaction mentoring others in the business. He did this throughout his entire career. He had his very own Fullerton recipe for success that offered support and encouragement to individuals in the business, whether someone was getting started or furthering their career in the industry. He strongly influenced many, including myself. When I think of Dave's legacy, I think of all the people he spent time with, many of whom are here today. After Dave's passing, I found myself scrolling through years of our text messages. My mind was flooded with memories of his dry sense of humor, his kindness, his positive nature, and his generosity of friendship, along with a few good laughs in there. David had shared our personal and health issues with one another. He showed his roots and his support as I dealt with my own health issues. He cared for and about me. He cared not only about myself, but my family. I, like many of you here today, lucky enough to have Dave as a friend. I've thought lots of Dave over the past few weeks, and in some of the simplest moments in our long-standing relationship are now cherished memories for me. They define Dave's personal character and speak to the humble, loyal, selfless, and caring person that he was to all of us. Leanne, again, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts of Dave. Sonia and I will be there for you any way possible. Dave, I'll miss your unconditional friendship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. We're now going to call on David's youngest brother, who now lives in San Francisco, who came to visit us, Ted Fullerton.
Let me introduce you to my family. I'm the youngest of four, David's little brother. My daughter, his niece, Amy, is here too to celebrate his wonderful life. We're all here to celebrate David, whom we miss every day. I want to tell you about one of my fondest memories of my big brother. David was 6 years older than me and was a protective older brother. I was in grade 10, living on a lake in Calgary, and I decided to hit the toboggan hill across the water. Out of nowhere, a grade 12 football player came up and punches me in the face for no reason at all. I stumble home with a bloody nose, and David, cool as ever, says, "Why don't you introduce me to this guy?" Now, David was smaller, but he strutted up with confidence and asked, "Did you punch my brother in the face? Did he provoke you?" The guy said no to both, and then Dave decided to let loose. They rolled down the hill, David on top, shouting, "Don't you ever touch my brother again." From then on, I walked the school halls with no problem. All throughout my life, David was there, watching my back and fighting for it too. I was over the moon when I heard that David and Leanne snagged a place in Arizona. Another fond memory I have of David is when I was visiting him and Leanne in Arizona. While we were there, we hit a local bar. this guy randomly jumps up to belt out a custom song, Welcome Me from the Bay Area. I turned to David and asked, "Who is that?" And David, with a huge smile on his face, says, "I brought out the mayor to sing for you." That was my brother, who always made sure I felt welcome and was truly the life of the party. David was a fantastic uncle to my daughter. On many occasions, Amy and I would visit David and Leanne down in Arizona. On one of those visits, and when Amy was only 13, David said, "Let's hit the clubhouse and go for a drive." We get to the clubhouse, and he tells Amy to hop into the BMW X5 and drive in circles all by herself. Not only was David a great older brother, but he was also a caring uncle who always knew how to connect with his nieces and nephews. When I heard he was feeling down, I jumped on a flight from California, booking 12 days to be by his side. His last text to me was, "Thanks, Ted. Really appreciate your support." I wanted to be there for him in all the ways he was there for me for the last 50 plus years, and I'm so grateful to spend that time with him. Well, I could. Is it blurry in here or just me? Ultimately, David was a protector, a jokester, and my big brother. David, if you're looking down from heaven, I want you to know how much we love and miss you. Hope you're doing well up there.
Thank you very much, Ted. Beautiful.
Oh,
Now you're really gonna have
it's a good thing I don't need a microphone, isn't it?
Thanks, David.
Yeah. This is the only part of the day that doesn't require a microphone, so
Well, mic for the live stream.
it's kind of magic. Well, people in the room.
Right. Should we check something?
I'm sure they're working on it.
Okay.
It's very hot.
It's gonna get even hotter.
Okay, cool.
Let's just start.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Will I find a way to tell you I still love you? I might whisper to you in a crowded room. You could ask me what I said, but honey, it's all in my head. 'Cause I know it's not the same for you. I've known I felt this way for you for ages. When I met you, I knew things would go awry. You shot me a special look and then lent me your favorite book. And I knew I would never love another guy. But how can I express when my heart is such a mess? I love you till the day I die. Please don't make me ask you if you feel the same, 'cause I don't want a receipt or proof of knowledge to be happy just to see you. Whenever you are ready, so am I. Read between the lines.
Thank you so much, Deanna. I guess we're gonna have to improvise here, folks. It seems like there's power all the way down, all the way down on Bayview. So let's improvise. In the meantime, this is the sort of part of the present, I guess, the day where we have a few family members and friends that have sent messages from the UK that we're going to read out today. But before we do that, folks, if I can just ask a little quiet over in the back, please. Thanks very much. Since we got no microphones, thank you. All right, so this list was compiled from Alan Brusselow and Matthew McCusker. These are what we would call Davidisms. These are Davidisms that we can share. The ones that we can't share, we can't share. If you don't ask, you don't get. It's just a function of dials. You only get one reputation. Simple business. Rejection is like water off a duck's back. It's just a piece of plastic. Soaring with the eagles. Don't pull a CLM, a career limiting move. The early bird gets the worm. Let's go whale hunting. That's stinking thinking. Attention to detail is number one. You only have to be marginally better than the competition. Never underpromise and overdeliver and underdeliver. Less is more. Most electrifying team in commercial real estate. Back to the ranch. Don't forget to always build the fort. Onwards and upwards. The dream team. Is that a gimme? Buddy. And my favorite, plank. Where? Plank? David loved his planks. Now, folks, a very dear friend of Leanne for 50 years and a friend of David since high school and a close friend ever since. Her name is Elizabeth Walmsley. We'd like to call her up to speak, please. And let's continue on with our day. I'm going to help you out over here, so if that works.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me back there? No? Okay. So this isn't working? No. Okay. Hello, everyone. Leanne has asked me to do two things today, and I'm going to try my best. And the first thing that she's asked me to do is she's asked me to read a card that she coincidentally, or not coincidentally, found this morning when she was looking for a fan to try to deal with this oppressive heat. So I'd like to read that card to all of you. Dearest Leanne, thank you for 40 wonderful years, sweetie. I still remember our first kiss by the bus stop in the rain like it was yesterday. Since then, our love has only grown stronger, and I cherish every minute we spend together. Some of my most memorable moments with you were rafting in Jamaica, our first trip to Hong Kong together, enjoying the Penguin March and the grandeur of Uluru, sorry if I mispronounced that, in Australia, and closing on our penthouse condo at our private villa at Round Hill. You make every moment special, and I look forward to many more years of love and happiness with you. Lots of love, now and always, David. The second thing I would like to do for Leanne is talk to you a little bit about the boy in the men. And that brings me back to our teenage years. There are two things that really speak to me about Dave. And one is his ability to be present. I work as a high school teacher, well, for another 5 days anyway. And something that, the kids say is this ability to lock in. And as a teenager who largely felt invisible at high school, I'm very thankful for his ability to lock in and build the confidence in the girl in me. The second thing that I'd like to remember about Dave is his giggle. And it's not, I was trying to explain this to my husband, but it wasn't so much laughter, it was this giggle. And when I was sort of pulling back into my memory files, I remembered a trip that we had taken to, I think it might have been Algonquin Park. And I do remember we were in his red Datsun, so this was before good food and martinis. And if you can just sort of have a sensory experience of driving up and it kind of going like putt, 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 putt. But we did make it there. I think it was kind of like a very soupy hot day like today. And we had our food. I can't remember whether we had a cooler, but by the time we got out of our to do our first portage, the bow of the canoe almost looked like a stew because everything had melted. Our beer was still safe, and it could have been a tense moment because I think there might have been some finger pointing. And I just remember Dave giggled, and everything was fine. The last time I had a really fulsome conversation with Dave was when he was in the hospital. And Doreen and Leanne had gone to the opera. My husband was at a Blue Jays game. And I said to Dave, give me a shout. We're both, we've both got some time to chat. We're alone. And he called me, and we had a really beautiful conversation about the boy and the man, the girl and the woman. And our conversation, we'd kind of exhausted a lot of the reminiscing. But I didn't want to let him go yet. And so I had this idea that maybe we could watch something and then we would reconnect in a phone call and have a discussion just to pass that time until Doreen and Leanne got back from the opera. Steve Paikin came to mind. I'm sorry, I don't know why, but it was TVO. I thought it would be easy for him to access, and he did. And I watched it, and I thought, oh my goodness, what could I have chosen anything worse? And we reconnected in a phone call, and I said, Dave, that was really bad, wasn't it? And he giggled. And I'm hoping that when I think about Dave, I'm going to think about he's locked in. I'm going to think about that giggle. To close, I have my youngest son is 22, and he, with his group of friends, when they say goodbye to each other, and it always warms my heart when he says it, but he always says, peace. Peace, my dear friend, David James Fullerton, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Our next speaker is a friend of David's and one of his original mentees. Always dresses fantastic. Please come on up, David Dennis.
Thanks, Alan.
Please, I'll let you use that if you want. That's helpful. That works.
Leanne, Doreen, Dave's family, friends, colleagues, mentees, and so many friendly competitors. I've had the privilege over the last month to spend a lot of time with Leanne as she goes through the most difficult journey she has ever had to take. We've laughed, we've cried, reliving stories of Dave and trying to make some sense of a loss so unexpected, unreal, and so tragic. When asked to participate, I struggled how to say goodbye to my dear friend after 34 years of memories. How can I say goodbye to my dear friend, mentor, voice of calm, pragmatic help, who has always been there for me and for so many of us here? I shared with a friend in our industry how we often channel Dave in our business approaches and often utilize his voice when presenting ideas as he taught us. How many times have we heard, "This is David Fullerton"? I hear his voice calling me Dave-os, and always offering his guidance and reassurance no matter what the circumstances of our lives, as I know he spoke to many of us here today. How can you say goodbye to a friend who was always there, whether we saw each other a lot during life's changes and busy schedules or not? Dave was always there, always made himself available, and was always happy to spend time together and to offer his calm love and support. And then I had the most remarkable awareness that I cannot and will never say goodbye to a friend who has had such an impact on my personal and professional life. And then, in fact, I'm here today not to say goodbye, but to say thank you. Above all else, thank you, Dave. Back in 1991, after a brief interview at what was then Coldwell Banker, changed the name to CB Commercial, and is known as CBRE today, after we were gone, I was told that I could join the firm immediately, and that I would be a perfect fit for a young team of guys, the Daves, who emulated the hard work, discipline, and ambition that I shared. Now, our manager didn't tell me at the time that Dave had only been in the business a little while and really hadn't had the years of experience that you might expect from a mentor-mentee relationship. But what I got was so much more than real estate knowledge. I learned the value of discipline, consistency, structure, organization, and in fact, so many of the psychological nuances of developing and maintaining a successful plan that even a guy like me could follow. We quickly became so much more than colleagues, working full days, usually followed by a long workout at the Cambridge Club or at his condo gym. Whether training for a long distance run, weight training, he was always in the lead, and I always followed, just trying to keep up with his strength and stamina to push myself beyond my own limits. Thank you, Dave, for teaching me the power of discipline, persistence, and strength. I quickly learned of his self-defacing humor when working out at his condo one day. We looked down from the gym through the glass windows to the pool below, where he recounted a story, Leanne mentioned it, where he was enjoying the sauna at his condo one day, and he proudly strutted out of the sauna, climbed up the diving board in front of all the other swimmers and gym goers that were looking down from the glass, and took his best, most impressive dive, only to realize as he hit the cold water that he forgot to put on his bathing suit after leaving the sauna. Thank you, Dave, for always making me laugh. After leaving CB and joining Devon Corey, he went to work asking me to join him there, and eventually after 5 years I followed him, and we worked together closely for the next 23 years. We continued to collaborate on many transactions and continued to participate in our fitness regimens together, our social occasions, celebrations, birthday dinners, family dinners, holidays, ski days, and the list goes on and on. One memory that stands out is one day after a personal crisis, I called him from my mother's home. It was up in Horseshoe Valley. And before I knew it, Dave and Leanne were at the door to offer, after hours of driving, just to offer me support, friendship, and love. Thank you, Dave, for always being there for me with your time and care. Dave would drop anything, and others have mentioned it today. He would drop anything he was doing for a friend in need. And he always enthusiastically included me in his and Leanne's life throughout the years, year after year. Thank you, Dave, for teaching me how friends show up for friends. During our years at Devoncore, he would often show up at my door and ask me to head down to Starbucks and take a break from work. He'd pry me away from my desk. And after I ordered my usual double strong Americano misto, he would order an English breakfast tea. And I would tease him about it. I'd say, Dave, why don't you have a real cup of coffee? You know, why would you come down to Starbucks to buy a tea? You could have made it for free in our office kitchen. The answer was always, he just wanted to chat and spend some time with me. During the day, every day. Dave's gentle way always reflected his genuine love of people, and he enjoyed people and made you feel listened to and understood. With the most incredible patience and perseverance. Thank you, Dave, for always making me feel loved, appreciated, valued, and respected. Dave's office was always completely organized, from his files, his spreadsheets, his pens, his papers, everything had its place. His financial calculators, his countless top performance awards, neatly laid out by year, you know, and his beloved collection of porcelain dogs. And he'd have them neatly arranged on his credenza in order that Leanne would give it to him. So occasionally, I would have a little fun by sneaking into his office when he wasn't there, and I would change the order of a couple of the figurines just to see if he would notice. Every single time, within minutes of him returning to the office, they'd be returned to their original position with no comment or reaction. He knew who was doing it. I never recall seeing him angry or frustrated, and he could take a joke as well as he could play one on others without ever seeming affected or disturbed. Thank you, Dave, for teaching me patience and calm and the power of not reacting. We often skied together and spent time together up in Collingwood. We learned the hard way one year that you had to thaw out a frozen turkey before putting it in the oven if you hope to eat dinner and not get salmonella poisoning before January 2nd. Dave could take those moguls. If anybody saw him ski, he took them like a pro. And as in most things, I would only follow slowly behind him, always encouraged by him to push a little bit beyond my own limits, limiting beliefs, and inspired by his abilities, strengths, and stamina. As anyone who golfed with Dave knows, you don't have to have the most perfect, beautiful golf swing to hit the ball long, straight, and consistently, hole after hole to win the game. Thank you, Dave, for always encouraging me to shoot past my own limitations with the power of strength, perseverance, and discipline. It was only this past March when Dave and I planned a long overdue ski day at Devil's Glen together. It was probably the only time I could remember where he canceled on me with pretty short notice. Dave always suited up and showed up with no excuses ever. It only occurred to me after a couple days that I thought that's kind of odd. And I realized that something wasn't not quite right and my friend was suffering. I persevered as he always taught me and learned that Dave was not immune to moments of challenge in life that I am sure everyone in this room has experienced at one time or another. We spoke many times in the following months, and in his usual stoic way, I never really understood how deeply he was suffering. Any of us who knows Dave well might be able to understand how difficult it would have been to Dave to be any different to the world than he always was, and that fear of the unknown or a challenge that he couldn't master was unbearable for him. The clarity of purpose and perseverance that had always served him so well was not working. Thank you, Dave, for teaching me gratitude for my own life. And for the humility to see that every one of us here, no matter how strong, successful, or self-assured we may seem, are not immune to periods of darkness and illness that we cannot control, no matter our struggles. Dave reminds me to be grateful for our lives, always, and to walk with the humility and knowledge of knowing that there but for the grace of God go I. Thank you, Leanne, for allowing me to be part of your journey. I cherish all the time we spent together through the last 34 years, and I'll always cherish the time we have spent together in the last month. As usual, and with all of your help, I say again, thank you, Dave, for helping us to grow, to love, and to understand just how blessed we all are. Despite our sorrow, our shock, and our sadness, you are missed, but you will always be here in all of us. This is definitely not a goodbye.
We can, yeah. Great. Perfect. We have, we thought we had some force majeure going on over here for those in real estate, but it seems as though we can play the song. Beautiful song by Jim Croce called Time in a Bottle, which we will be playing. Hopefully. Where's the mic? I don't know if the mic's working.
If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you. If I could make days last forever, if words could make wishes come true, I'd save every day like a treasure, and then again I would spend them with you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them. I've looked around enough to know that you're the one I want to go through time with. If I had a box just for wishes and dreams that had never come true, the box would be empty except for the memory of how they were answered by you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them. Looked around enough to know you're the one I want to go through time with.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, we have people that have written notes of kindness and love from different parts of the world. The first one that we have is from Leanne's sister and David's fond sister-in-law, who lives in the UK, Barbara Stubbings. I have known David ever since he married my sister many years ago, but I have got to know him better in the last 15 to 20 years, especially since Leanne, David, and Doreen have been coming over to England almost every year. I agree. My first impression of David was somebody who had excellent manners and was very kind. We have a saying in England that manners maketh man, and that first impression has always stayed the same. David was a lovely man. I believe David was reluctant to come to England at first because of our poor weather, thinking that it always rained, but I think to his surprise he realized that we do have some wonderful sunny days in England. We all got pleasure from visiting many of the beautiful gardens and houses that England has to offer. One of the visits that comes to mind was when we went to feed the alpacas, and of course, that day the heavens opened and it poured with rain, which resulted in us and the alpacas getting very wet indeed. Another place we went to was the recent nuclear bunker, which obviously is not a secret anymore. A lot of fun was had trying to old military clothes on. We also learned a lot more about the Cold War. We have many happy memories visiting different places when they were with us. David always enjoyed the beautiful walks we have from our house, being a country location situated midway between London and Cambridge. Sounds like a real estate offering. Last year, my husband Bob decided we would take down our Union Jack flag, and in honor of David's visit, we would put up the Canadian flag. David was part of our extended English family. Learning of his passing, we were all so saddened and shocked and still find it unbelievable that we will not see him again. We will always remember David in our prayers and with love. My family thank him for the wonderful memories we will cherish. Our thoughts and, of course, with my sister Leanne, Doreen, and David's family and friends at this time. I recently went to Canada to support my sister Leanne and stepmother Doreen, and after spending 2 weeks with them, I feel saddened that I could not do or also be at this memorial for David, but hope that these few words express some of our feelings that his English family feel. Lots of love, Barbara and Bob Stubbings, my son Roland and his family, and my daughter Charlotte and her family. We also have a note from Charlotte DeWild, who is Leanne's niece, Barbara's daughter. We will dearly miss Uncle David, our kind, funny, friendly, competitive Canadian. Our family has such fond memories of his time visiting us in England. He enjoyed a fierce game of table tennis and chess, and a good run around the block with Will. Always good-natured, always happy to wander around a few centuries-old ruins on a day out and enjoy nice pub meals in the evenings. Uncomplicated and easy company. We are sad that our time with this lovely man has come to an end. Forever in our hearts, Charlotte, Harry, Grace, and Will DeWild, Kent, England. And lastly on this, a note from Roland Marsh, who is Leanne's nephew, son of Barbara Stubbings. I was fortunate to meet Uncle David on many occasions on his visits to England, though often all too briefly. I took an instant liking to him as he was a very likable guy. I found him to be a warm-hearted, very intelligent man with a great sense of humor, as well as being easygoing and humble, and a true gentleman and a rare combination. I always wanted to take him out for a beer with the lads, which I think he would have enjoyed, although it may have gotten me into hot water with Leanne, and I always thought there was going to be plenty of time to do so. Very sadly, this will never come to be. His passing all too soon leaves a huge chasm behind him, and he will be sorely missed by anybody that was fortunate enough to have met him. My heart goes out to Leanne and Doreen and all his family and friends. He will be mourned, but never forgotten. My thoughts and prayers are with you all. Roland. And lastly, on the UK from this for this first one, a note from Peter Francis, who's a friend of David and Leanne, and they met in 1986 on a Kon-Tiki trip of Europe, and they've been long-distance friends ever since. First of all, I'd like to thank Leanne for the opportunity to express my memory of Dave. Dave and I met in 1986 through Europe whilst on the same tour. From our very first interaction, there was an instant friendship, which has been the basis of countless unforgettable memories. There was a sense of easiness to our friendship from the very outset, a feeling that I had already known Dave for a long time. This feeling never left and is something which I will continue to always cherish. Dave had many wonderful qualities. He was kind, true, loyal, and generous to all who were lucky enough to know him. Dave and I lived just about as far away as two people could live from one another on Earth, but we always kept in contact from our respective sides of the world. I loved our chats on Facebook Messenger and our catch-up calls every Christmas. I will specifically always treasure our calls from back in the old days when I would constantly forget about the time difference and phone Dave and Leanne at 2 a.m. Dave, you will always be in my heart, and I will never forget you until the next time we meet. At this time, we're going to call up our next speaker, and that is an old high school friend of David and Leanne's and a close friend ever since. Please come on up, Mary Ann Curtis.
I'm just going to take 10 seconds just to go over one thing with you. Obviously, there's a power failure. It's the entire block. It's not just the funeral home. So you might hear a bit of a reverberation because the people that aren't in here that are able to hear it through the microphone are able to still see it on the live streaming. The live streaming camera's not working, but the audio is being picked up. And anyone that is watching online overseas, wherever you might be, within the next 24 hours, the whole entire funeral will be uploaded onto there. Right now, the audio is the only thing playing. The visual will come later. The gentleman recording it will have it. He has a battery backup, and it will be recorded and uploaded to see it in its entirety. So once again, completely out of our control, but if you are hearing a bit of reverb, it is coming from the room beside because the people are not able to hear exactly through the microphone here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mary Ann Curtis.
Hi, everyone. As mentioned, my name's Mary Ann Curtis, and I'd like to share with you a few of my memories of Dave. I met Dave back in the early 80s when we were in high school at Lawrence Park. When I first met Dave, I thought, what a crazy guy he was. He was a bit infamous at Lawrence Park when he first arrived on the scene. This was the guy who showed up after all at school with a huge snake around his neck. And I just assumed he was quite the party guy. This boyfriend was not going to last long, in my opinion. I thought, what the heck is Leanne doing with him? As it turns out, Dave was not at all like that. It was a big show, and he just hung around the partiers. Fast forward 1 to 2 years later, what a metamorphosis. Next thing I knew, he was going off to Western Business School. I was a bit shocked, but very glad to see that Leanne was with this responsible guy. Our friendship really got cemented after I had reconnected with Leanne when we were both at Ryerson, she in radio and television, and I was in the business program there. Dave and Leanne frequently came up to our cottage in the Kawarthas and up to the family chalet in Collingwood, where we skied together at Georgian Peaks. Dave and Leanne made the best guests, and everyone loved having them come up to visit. Dave and Leanne were the co-MCs at my wedding at Egan Ridge in 1992. Dave showed us what a funny guy that he could be, and he made the perfect MC and kept everyone laughing. When I had my first daughter, Brooke, and then Lauren, and it was time to pick godparents, I couldn't think of a better role model and friend than Dave had become, and he was the godfather to not one but both of my girls. Frequently, the kids and I would come down and visit at the condo at Harbourfront and go swimming there. And Dave, you stole my story about the diving board. But the kids would laugh to no end, knowing when Dave said he'd go up in the diving board, realize midway through that he didn't have his shorts on, and come on down. I figured it was his years at UCC where apparently they didn't wear bathing suits back then, and he just got used to that feeling. Dave never forgot a birthday or special occasion and always reached out, not just with a text or email, but by always picking up the phone and making personal contact. He had a way of making everyone feel very special. There was really not a bad thing that you could say about Dave. When my first marriage crashed and burned, Dave was really there to help pick me up, and we got even closer. I really appreciated how he took me under his wing during that difficult time. He would take me out downtown just to get back out there. I remember a special time of how I was included when they first moved into the penthouse condo, and the three of us got takeout Thai food to go celebrate. We ate on the floor as there was no furniture, but it was really special. They were still coming up to the family cottage frequently, but starting to look for their own cottage. I was very happy that they didn't end up in the Muskokas, as was the initial plan, but found their beautiful cottage very close to our cottage over on Balsam Lake. It was wonderful knowing that they were so close by. Wedding number 2, and Dave and Leanne came to Jamaica with Ross and I, and they were the maid of honor and best man. It was great continuing on our journey of friendship that had started in high school 20 years earlier. Dave was the one who suggested that my husband and I come down to Arizona to celebrate my 50th birthday. Dave went out of his way to make sure that we celebrated in style. It was a very special trip. And in 2019, we traveled to Barcelona together and shared many great travel experiences there. When Leanne attempted a few ladies' weekends, Dave would always end up participating as an honorary guest and join the celebration. The ladies didn't mind, and it was always great to have him there and be part of those. For so many Thanksgivings, Easters, Christmases, birthdays, weddings, and general parties, Dave always made it a part to come celebrate with our family over the decades. I'm so happy that I had so many special connections with Dave this past year. From my daughter Lauren's wedding last summer, the 40-year Lawrence Park reunion last September, Thanksgiving at our cottage on Sturgeon, and the Fullerton Christmas party at Balsam Lake. This past January, many of us from Lawrence Park got together to see our friend Al play at Smoke Show, the old chicken deli. I knew that Dave was not feeling the greatest at that point, but he made it out, and you honestly would not have known he was going through anything. He had his smile on and connected with everybody there. I got a text from Dave March 11th this year, which was the first time that he had reached out, saying that he had been struggling with anxiety issues. He said the meds hopefully would kick in soon and provide some relief. He apologized for not reaching out sooner, but that it had been a challenging time for him the past few weeks. He said to say hello to Ross and the rest of the family and that he missed me. On May 9th, we traded messages again, and he ended with, "Look forward to seeing you soon." That was the last time that I connected with him. I'll share with you an interesting experience I had a couple of weeks after Dave had passed. I was sitting at my computer trying to erase some files off my hard drive as it was getting full. I found a video file that was unnamed. I had no idea how it got on the computer. It had come over from Facebook somehow, and I clicked on it. And Dave's smiling face popped up in front of me. It was a video back from over 10 years ago, 2014, when everyone was doing those ALS ice bucket challenges. He was looking very happy and handsome and about to do the challenge, then called out to challenge me to do the same. It felt as though Dave was reaching out and sending me a message. It was truly like a hello from him from beyond. Dave was a wonderful friend, a one-of-a-kind guy, and he will be missed by so many people. I find a bit of comfort in knowing he is at peace now. I feel very blessed to have had so many decades with his friendship. Dave will never be forgotten.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marianne. All right. We have a few more people that wrote from different parts of the world that wanted to be heard today. So let's give them a little listen. Geraldine Monk, who is Leanne's cousin, first met David in 1986 on his first trip to the UK and loved him dearly. We have so many wonderful memories of David. Where to begin and which ones to choose? Always a fierce competitor in all sports. He would love to get us all down on the living room floor planking. All 10 of us one night, with our ages ranging from 4 in their 20s, 4 in their 50s, and 2 in their 80s. Auntie Doreen and my dad Colin were amazing and held it longer than me. The kids were also great and held it for minutes. Simon and Leanne too. But no one could beat David. He just stayed there till the last one gave up. Another memory that will resonate, I'm sure, with many of you here today is his famous loon call lessons and how to make the call by holding your 2 thumbs together and blowing. I think he tried to teach everyone that he met in England how to do it. David, my darling, you loved me and Simon, our children, their partners, and our grandchildren as if they were your family and not just in-laws. Albeit you needed to disappear for a little rest of a half hour after a couple of hours with toddler fun. We all hold you in such high esteem. We loved you. You back as much. We cherish the memories. You are always in our hearts. Thank you for always just being the wonderful you. Also have a note from Simon Monk. And Simon is Geraldine's husband. Also met him in 86. Thought of David as a brother. I have so many fantastic memories of David, all of them filled with laughter. The one we always laughed together about whenever we got together on a really hot summer's day, one of David's famous barbecues at the cottage, still the best steak I've ever eaten. He asked me to help him with the wasp's nest under the decking. Sure, I said as he threw some gardening gloves at me. 5 minutes later, after which he said he was going to get some equipment, he reappeared wearing full-on ski clothing, complete with goggles, gloves, and not an inch of flesh to show. He delegated to me to remove the nest. I was wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops, while he has the trash can and lid. After that, he always referred to us as the wasp hunters. David, you will always be remembered and loved as a cherished friend who lit up every room you were in. Peace be with you, mate. Another one from Oliver and Stacy Monk, who are Leanne's cousins. Oliver is Geraldine's son. There are too many memories of David, but I will certainly recall several of them with so much love and gratitude. We are so grateful that we were able to be part of each other's lives, perhaps more than I might expect, since we lived so far away. One of Oliver's favorite memories was David whisking Oliver to the NBA finals within 2 hours of us landing at the airport from London. It was such a big game, and they didn't get home until well after midnight, meaning it was an all-nighter for Ollie. Another memory is of David encouraging us to have a drink with him and then realizing that he wasn't drinking anything at all. Stacy still blames David for the hangover at Granddad's 80th. One evening during our visit to Leanne and David in Arizona, we visited some friends at a small ranch in Scottsdale. The evening started with David rounding up a horse Stacy had accidentally let escape, and continued with a night out watching bull riding and wearing cowboy hats. This time we all did have a few drinks, and the night ended with David falling out of the friend's super high pickup truck. We all laughed until we realized he was actually hurt. The final memory is of the night after our wedding. We were taking family pictures in our hotel room after all the celebrations had taken place. We were all being a little silly. David and Simon put lampshades on their heads for one of the photos. We didn't realize it until we saw the photo later on. He was always so open and welcoming, and we always looked forward to seeing him come over to the UK for yearly visits. These last few years, he spent time playing with our sons as well. He will be sorely missed, and recall our memories of him with love and joy. And then, lastly, Emily and George Berry are Leanne's cousins in the UK, and Emily is Geraldine's daughter. We always cherished the time we spent with David. As teenagers, we visited Canada for 2 weeks, and it remains one of the most amazing times we had with the family. Years later, we returned, this time with our partners, and on our first night, David took us out for a quick drink. Hours later, we stumbled back home a little tipsy and full of laughter. David, ever the trickster, had been secretly drinking water. He did this. While buying us shots and insisting he would just have one more. More recently, watching David play with our children has become a memory we'll forever hold close. Their laughter during donkey rides and the pure joy on everyone's face captured the essence of who David was, a fun-loving, thoughtful, and full of heart. He brought happiness wherever he went, and we feel so lucky to have shared these moments with him. Those are our notes from abroad. At this time, I'm going to have the pleasure of calling up Sean Garrity. Sean is here? Perfect. Sean's an old friend and somebody who was loved dearly as well. So, here you are, my friend. Do you need that?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
I didn't know that David was a loon call brother.
Nice. Nice.
I never, that's the sort of thing that you share, but I guess it didn't happen. So my name's Sean Garty. David and I were friends at UCC in grade 9. We both seemed to have a similar sense of mischief and fun. At school, we would try to figure out subtle, goofy ways to cause a distraction in the class. And one method that we used was a type of amateur ventriloquism, or throwing your voice, just to disguise who was doing it. And our goal was to encourage the teacher to end class early. About 5 minutes before the end of class, we would sporadically throw our voices saying, "Water." Can you hear that? Water. It's, the guy stuck in the desert type of voice. Or just before lunchtime, each of us would randomly say, "Lunch!" Or with our hands over our mouth or something like that, just to, but David was always good at keeping a straight face, so we never got caught. We tried it on a few teachers, and it was not surprising that it never really worked, but it was fun, and we weren't caught. And we never did it to the math teacher and rugby coach, Mr. Agnew, who usually talked to David and said, "Fullerton." So he had the serious Scottish accent, and he would say, "No yabbits, Fullerton," which is, in case you didn't know, yabbits are, "Yeah, but sir." So that was it. And then about 10 years ago, after we graduated, David and I ran into each other on a TTC platform. He had shed his 70s grebs and long-haired rocker look and had become the clean-cut, sharply dressed commercial real estate dude. It turned out that we both had started playing doubles squash, and after some friendly matches, we started playing in tournaments as a doubles team. We played in everything from the Ontario Seas all the way to open tournaments, where we were cannon fodder for some teams that played on the Pro Tour. And so, we'd get like the 1,000-mile-an-hour shots right at us. Anyway, we played in 5 or 6 tournaments a season for a few years, and although David was super competitive, he was very conscious of lifting up the spirits of our two-man team, which typically he did with his dry, gentle humor, mixed with a goofy joke and some thoughtful strategy. He was the better player of our team, but he often addressed me as Maestro, which is there's a line running through all these stories. Is he has like a special name for people that is just kind of funny. But anyway, he was the better player. But anyway, he used that as a type of gentle encouragement, which was really his nature, as you could tell from all the stories that you've heard. He knew that boosting his teammates' confidence would boost their squash. And David was not the most elegant player in the tournaments, but he was very efficient with a short swing and a great eye that helped him to make few racket errors. He never beat himself. You had to beat him, or you'd hit the ball to me. He seemed to be good at every racket sport he took up. One time he played tennis, which David said he hadn't really played much of, but he surprised me with how good his tennis was despite his inexperience. It turned out he had cunning and accurate shots, not hard, but effective. With anything David did, he brought along his dry sense of humor to lighten up the occasion. He was a good guy. It was very sad to hear that he had gone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to call up Deanna Petkoff again. She's going to sing a song for us. We're doing some Pink Floyd over here?
Maybe some Pink Floyd.
Very nice. Acoustic.
Pink Floyd. Because it was meant to be heard. I swear the power outage wasn't my fault. Everyone in the other room was like, I just really didn't want you to play. But I swear it's not. I swear it's not that. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a gray you feel from a cold steel rail? A smile from a veil. Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for gold, not ashes for trees, hot air for a cold breeze, cold comfort for change? And did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in the cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. Have we found the same old fear? Wish you were here.
Thank you, Deanna. We're going to call up one of David's work partners and friend of David and Leanne. He was also Alan was also a mentee of David's, and together with Alan McCusker, they were the self-named dream team of commercial real estate, first at Devoncore and then at JLL. Alan, come on up.
Okay, well, I guess David always liked a good sweat and a good workout, so I feel like we're doing one last boot camp together. Okay, I don't have any notes, but I've got some stories that I'd like to share about David. Thanks, Leanne, for giving me a chance to say a few words to this amazing group of people that meant so much to David, and a lot to me too, many of you. I'm Alan. I had the pleasure of being very good friends with Dave over the last 18 years. David was my mentor at the start of my career and throughout my career, and we were colleagues and friends. And in the last sort of 12 years, we decided to partner up and sort of build a full-time team together, or the dream team, as we like to call it. And we kind of never looked back in terms of that. David was just the most incredibly thoughtful and caring and amazing person, you know, anyone could dream of being friends with, being partners with. He had a larger-than-life personality, like we all know, and he wasn't scared of being himself. And he didn't care what you thought or what anybody thought. He was going to be himself, and we had a lot of fun and a lot of travels and adventures together. So I'm thinking about one of those days that we were together. We were on a trip in Montreal for the F1 weekend. Dave was a big Formula One fan, as many of you know. Loved McLaren. And we were in Montreal, and we were having breakfast and kind of recovering a bit from maybe too many glasses of wine the night before, and you know, all of us were catching up. And I remember kind of licking our wounds. We're sitting there licking our wounds, chatting or whatever, and everyone's feeling a little beat up. And one of us was thanking David for something nice that he had done, something small. And he said, "Hey, yeah, anytime. I'm always there." I just remember turning to David and saying that, you know, in the race, they got the pace car if there's an accident, and everybody comes out and lines up behind them, you know, to have safety. But in life, we have you, Dave. You know, you're the dependable one, whether it's large or small, something that we need to chat about, business, you know, a business opportunity or something that's on your mind. You know, Dave's always there and he's always dependable. And I think the analogy I used was, he's going to jump in that M3. He might stall it once or twice. He might jam the gears a little bit coming out, but he's going to get over there. He's going to see you. That's a little side story about anyone who drove with David. Knew that he loved that car, but put a little bit of damage into that gearbox. But anyways, I know that story meant something to Dave because we'd come back to it every now and then. Dave was incredibly thoughtful, and he did so much for me personally, but so much for, you know, people in his life, right? Like David was the kind of person he could be at a lunch with a friend or a client or a colleague or someone he's having a tense negotiation with. He could have a meeting with them, and he would always send a note within a couple hours. The over-under was about 3 hours, that he'd send a thank you note and just acknowledge the time they spent and, you know, how much it meant to him. But there's a story that stands out for me, and it's something he did for Matt. He did these kinds of things for people all the time. But with Matt, who we've had the joy of working with over the last 8 years, Matt got he received a glowing reference letter from a client. He had gone above and beyond and done such an awesome job for them. And just classic Dave, what does he do? He prints that email off on a fresh sheet of paper, marches into our sales meeting, which is like a meeting we have as brokers every couple weeks where we kind of talk about all the work we're doing and pontificate about why we're so great and all that jazz. But Dave's agenda that day was one thing. And when it was his turn to speak, he read that email line for line. And you could just see, how proud he was and what it meant to him. And, you know, he was like a proud dad in a moment like that. And it was just so sweet and thoughtful. And it was all those little things that David did that, you know, just added up to the incredible person he was. He liked to have a lot of fun, as we know. And, you know, if you were going to go to him and Leanne's condo, you were going to meet the Don. And if you don't know who the Don was until you got there, well, the Don Julio was going to open and you were going to have a shot. You have to check on Dave because if you weren't looking at him, his shot was going here or maybe there, but your shot was going here. And so was the second or the third shot as well. He made sure of that. But we had a ton of fun, and we traveled a lot. There was another trip we were on with our wives. It happened to also be a Formula One related event, but we went to Abu Dhabi together as a group, the four of us. We had a wonderful trip, and just like a little moment, but it's the end of the race. The fireworks are going off. It's the end of the season. Everyone's partying. We're walking the track and checking it out, and even like the drivers are out, and people are kind of, having a ball. And we get to the end of the track, and there's this private yacht club at the back with all the beautiful boats. And people are mulling about, but there's a big bouncer there standing there. He's not letting anybody in. Maybe the odd person, with some wristbands or something. And we were sort of hanging out for a second there, and we were like, I guess we're going to get going. And Dave's like, hold on. Let me take a look at this, And he goes up to the bouncer and says, hey, I'd like to get to my boat, please. And the bouncer looks at him kind of like, come on. And he's like, no, I'm Sheikh Fullerton. I'd like to get to my boat, with a big smile on his face. And he gives him a little wink, right? And, we're kind of, the bouncer didn't know what to do, had a big laugh. And he turned around and I said, go ahead, go have a good time. And he opens the door. We went into the little VIP area. We spent the rest of the night having an absolute blast. And, of course, what does Dave, turns to me and says, buddy, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? And Dave just wanted to, have a better night. He wanted us to have a better night. And those are little things that he would always do. But the last story I want to share is just something kind of personal for him and I. When I started in the business, I was a kid. I was green behind the ears, as they say. I didn't know much about anything. And I remember Dave used to call me for that first 6 months, he called me the music guy. Because I told him I played guitar and piano and I love music, but I was a business major. But the reason why he said that, he said, you're kind of disorganized, and we got to really work on you. We're going to have to put some real work on you because you're kind of all over the place, and we got to get you whipped into shape. So that's exactly what David did. For the first 12 months, he proceeded to whip me into shape, taught me all the X's and O's and the ins and outs of the industry that we worked in and what it meant to be successful in that industry. And just like all of his mentees, you soak it up. But yeah, it was just a profound period of time where he made such an impact on me as a person. He opened so many doors for me, allowed me to be, successful in our industry, which, opens doors to be successful in life and to live a happy and fulfilled life. And so it was a whirlwind, first year. And I remember Dave pulled me aside, it's probably a year and a half in. And we were at an event, probably having a glass of wine or something like that. But he said to me, Alan, I'm so proud of you. He said, you're doing such a good job and you're really killing it, brother. I think you're going to be really good at this. I think you're going to go really far. And keep at it. Don't let up and just keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, oh, geez, thanks, Dave. That's amazing. In my head, I'm like, oh, I guess I've made it. We're done. And then he turns to me and he says, but I got to tell you, that music guy, I was getting ready to fire his ass. And anyways, I'm going to cherish all those memories, forever and ever. And thank you, Leanne, for this opportunity. And Dave, I love you, buddy, and you're the best partner ever. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Beautifully spoken. All right, folks, I want to thank you. We want to thank you for your patience today. I know that with no air conditioning, no power, and you got here at 2 o'clock, waited until we started at 2:30, so we appreciate your patience. We're getting closer to the end here. We'd like to call up our last speaker. This is an old friend of David and Leanne's who worked with David back at the Caldwell Banker days and Devoncore days and has remained a close friend ever since. Come on up, Stan Kravitz.
Leanne, thank you so much for including me today. We've heard over and over again today's Dave's birthday. It's also literally 35 years since I met him. And I know the day because not only was it his birthday, but it was the CBRE Golf Day. I can't believe that 35 years have gone. We've celebrated so many of life's milestones together. My stag in the Bahamas, my wedding, my son's bris, my daughter's baby naming, annual trips to Bigwood Golf Course, flying with Clayton and Chris and Alan and Paul. We worked together at CBRE and then 8 years together at Devoncore. Clients always recognized our different skill sets, but they always recognized our chemistry. And when we pitched together, we never lost. Until one day, David decided to actually explain the chemistry. Big mistake. What he meant to say was that he was the detail guy and I was the big picture guy. But what he said was, he's the detail guy and Stan's the broad brush. A mixed metaphor that the client didn't understand and one we didn't get. That was Sanofi, and I'm going to go off script because on the way down here today, I was actually driving down Dufferin Street. And to get here, it was absolutely clear that I was to take Dufferin. But something told me to make a left at Steele's. And that's not where we'd made the pitch, and I had no idea that that was Sanofi, and that's where we turned around. And somebody on my right shoulder was saying, "I'm still here with you, buddy." And it was the weirdest experience. David is the most reliable friend. Never missed a birthday. Always diarized our quarterly lunches, so I didn't have to. And I'm very fortunate to have spent a week with David and Leanne at our house in Costa Rica, and with you and Dave walking the beaches in Miami right at the end of last year. Those are the memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life. So we gather here in both grief and gratitude. We honor David. Our life was generous, steady, and full of light. David is the kind of friend you can count on. Honest, inclusive, and always present with that warm, infectious smile that always made you feel that everything was going to be okay. He made people feel seen. He showed up. He left the world a better place than he found it, and not through grand gestures, but through everyday kindness, everyday support. May we carry his positive spirit with us in how we treat each other, in how we listen, and in how we treat our friends. Rest in peace, my dear friend. You'll always be remembered and always missed.
Thank you very much, Stan. I am not sure that we're going to have the memorial video, but that will be available to be seen. So in the interim, what we are going to have is just a couple of side notes. We were going to show you a memorial video that was compiled by Leanne that will be able to be seen on stream later. However, we just wanted to announce a few things. First, David was taken much too soon, and he still had much to give. He leaves behind a legacy of friendship. He leaves behind a legacy of inspiration with all of his mentees in commercial real estate. His legacy is going to continue. Leanne will be creating a scholarship with the Ivy School of Business in David's name to assist new business students embarking on their career path. Leanne and David's company, JLL Canada, will be working together on fundraising initiatives to assist survivors of suicide loss and other mental health initiatives. We would also like to thank, Leanne would like to thank Jonathan Peretz from Jones Lang LaSalle for all of his continuing support. She'd also like to thank the many people who have assisted her during this sad time, for all the meals delivered to her, for all the beautiful flowers, for all the cards and messages. Leanne would like to thank you. Special thanks to David's family for your incredible support, and extra special thanks to those friends, you know who you are, who have been really there in the trenches, visiting often, staying overnight, calling and texting whenever you can. Thank you. And to all of Leanne's family in the UK, thank you for your unending love and support. Her sister Barbara for dropping anything to come and stay, and of course her mom Doreen, who has spent there every single night and day to support her through this time. Finally, David will live on in our hearts. As long as we keep talking about him, he will continue to live. Please continue to say his name. Now, before we break for the day and start to memorialize our friend, Leanne has asked me to basically hold an open forum here. If you didn't have a chance to say something, you don't have to give us a dissertation. Give us a vignette. Give us something. Why did David connect with you? Why are you here? Anybody who has some chops and wants to go first, I would honor you. For that. What'll you bidden by? 5 and a 40, 45. I got somebody over here. Okay. Come on down. We got her. Risa Quilliam, please.
So my husband and I, Chris Quilliam, have been in their lives for so long. So Chris and Leanne worked together, and that's how we met Leanne, and David. So we have 3 daughters. So they watched our children grow up. They're now 30 and 28 respectively, and you guys are such a huge part of their lives, and David will always be part of them. And I thank you. He recently came to Texas. One of our daughters got married in Austin. It was so beautiful that they came to our daughter's wedding. And we're so thankful. When I was doing my speech, it was so hot, like this day, hot. Remember, Leanne, how hot it was? So hot. And I'm standing there and I look out, and standing up is David. David was always there. I would see David. And it brought so much help and support for me. And then when Leanne did the galas, does anybody remember all the galas that she did? My husband was doing the teleprompting. David knew, I live in Mississauga. He knew I was getting ready, and he's like, Lisa, I'm gonna come and pick you up, because you should not be driving down. I'm gonna come all the way from Toronto to Mississauga to pick you up. And he did that many times. He's always there. So I will always remember it and always be a part of our life. And we love you, and thank you.
Thank you, Risa.
Your memory will forever be blessed. You will be blessed. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Risa. Anybody else? Hi there. What's your name?
I'm Debbie Hansen. My husband Gene and I drove from Wisconsin to be here.
Wow.
And because Leanne and David mean a lot to us. I first want to say we don't have a long period of knowing them. We met in Arizona. We have homes together in Terra Vita. And I can't even remember the first time we met there, if it was Janie's, if it was golfing, if it was going out, but it was at the Buffalo Chip. Gene says he has a good memory. But one thing that I want to say is, before we would leave to go to Arizona, we would celebrate my mom's birthday mid-October with a big Thanksgiving dinner, because I knew we wouldn't turn around and go back for American Thanksgiving. And I found out through Leanne that, well, that's Canadian Thanksgiving, the weekend you're doing it. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I said, well, would you like to come to our house for American Thanksgiving? And she and David came. And last year in November, I had knee replacement surgery, and I was a mess. It was like the week before. And they came, and I got up, I made the turkey, but they brought everything else. It was really great friends. Little Miss David, and happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
didn't know each other. And out came David to us. He was the president. Started chatting to us. My name is Fullerton. He'll always be our president.
Thank you. Anybody? Yes, hi there. What's your name?
Kevin Haverty.
Oh yeah, I know Kevin Haverty. I love that guy. I just don't recognize that guy. You look so good.
I started at CD in January of '90, and Dave started 2 months later. So we did all our sales training and everything together. So I knew him from the early days of what was again Coldwell Banker, and you've heard many stories. I ended up working on the institutional side of real estate for about 12 years, and you get to deal with a lot of different brokers. And you get to learn what their different tells are. Some in this room, I just sort of, when I see them, I sort of think of what they are. And I won't share. I won't give them away. But when I started in the business, one of the people who hired me had said that you only have two things. In South Africa, gentlemen, you have your reputation and your integrity. And somehow I think David heard that as well, and you've heard today. He was just the most honest, straightforward, great guy to do business with, whether a colleague in brokerage or working as a landlord, working with him, or he was representing his clients. But his tell, Dave could never even slightly fib or tell a lie. And so it was almost like a game, but are you sure that's it, David? I think you should go back and ask if we get this. They're like, no, Kevin, this is where it's at. No, really, I think you should, oh, fine, I'll go back. And I just know that he just always hated someone asking him the question because he was just so forward. So I could just do that smile,
sure,
I'll get back to you later, and off he went. So he'll be incredibly missed in the industry, and I know that his reputation and integrity lasted, and he's obviously taught many others that same lesson, as you've heard from others today.
Agreed. Thank you very much. Agreed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of this event. I want to thank everybody for coming. My suggestion to you is this. It's easy to show up at an event like this and then remember your friend. It takes 2 seconds once in a while to pick up the phone and text Leanne. Say hi, how you doing? Check in. Believe me, it doesn't matter right now because everybody's around her. But in a month, in a year, continue to do that and continue to regale in stories of our friend David, and he'll continue to live on. I want to thank everybody for coming today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. Alan, what he said is something I often use at the end of every funeral. It just doesn't end today. Whether it's next week, next month, next year, a phone call, a text message, you're in the neighborhood, stop by, say hello to Leanne, say hello to David's brothers, whatever it takes, sister. Reach out to all of them. They all need your support, and it is strongest today, but it thins out as time goes on. This does conclude the services today. I thank everyone for your patience and bearing with us. The live streaming still, the audio part did take place. The visual part did not. It will be uploaded within the next 24 hours. Unfortunately, the video tribute that we were going to watch at the conclusion, because of no power, we are unable to have that video stream going on. It will be on our website in, as I say, within 24 hours time or so. There is going to be a reception upstairs. I know everyone's been patient. If you have an opportunity, please join us upstairs. The only thing is anyone needing assistance to the upper level, the elevator is not working. So that's the only disadvantage of not having the power, besides the air conditioning, is there is no elevator to get people up and down the stairs.
Okay. I just want to say one sorry. With the lights going out and all the, sorry, just Catherine and her daughter Quinn couldn't be here today. And I know she did send me a message, and I know that she's listening. And we missed it and all the, but she does wish she was here, and she's sorry she's not here, and she just wanted to, well, share her condolences with me and you. And so thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you.
So Leanne, I'm going to ask you to remain standing. I'm going to have you lead us out the center aisle, and everyone will follow behind. There is a reception that will take place on the upper floors.
Thank you.